Hi guys, this is Carmen Chen from Centimeter. So today what we are talking, we'll talk about samples. Actually, from my own experience, all the most fights I have with the factory, with the suppliers, the most fights I have with them is the sample. It's about sample. As we all know, a sample is the mass production, the final mass production will relate it on the sample itself. So a sample is very important because the sample is how it will be presented to the customer, the final customer or the purchaser or the consumer that the product is. But you know the problem is, and what I need to fight with the supplier is that I figure out most of our factory suppliers, they don't understand what the sample means. Recently, last week, I have one order. It's like a totally ODM product. So it's a not existing product in China. So it's like a real new products that we have to build a new mold. We need to create the whole set, new mold, new products, new material, new design. And then it's like a food protector, and with the customer or on our design on our mock-up is very certainly we talk about the thickness of one pad, like the protection pad. It need to be 3 millimeter. We talk a lot. I speak Chinese with the manufacturer all the time. We speak Chinese, and it seems that they can understand. But finally, when I received the sample, I got totally disappointed because it's 1 millimeter. And then I immediately called the supplier. Like, we have already talked about this thousands of times, and this is what we request, and this is why you charge us the more fee, and this is why with everything start to make, and why you give me a wrong number, the wrong product. Guess what the supplier replied? They said, oh, actually now we don't have this material, but you can imagine we can find the next on mass production. I'm sure we will find this for you. But now with the sample, you can just check the quality, you check the way we make, but I promise for the mass production, it will be the one you want. And this is not only one time, it happens, I think is, I don't know, hundreds of times. Like, you request something, actually it was the final customer, like you guys tell all you need, you pass the information to me. I totally understand, and when I pass to the factory, I thought they understand, but finally the sample will always look different. And mainly of them is really funny that they just tell me, you can imagine, this is a very typical word they use, that you can imagine, you just now you check the material, you check the quality, but then in a mass production, we promise it will be what you want. It seems really interesting, even for me, because I grow up in China. I really I visit many factories, but still here the production lines still have these problems that they don't understand what a sample means. So here actually is just a tip for you guys also. When you create the new product, or you have your own private label, or you make something different out of the market, not that what everybody is selling, you have something different out of the market. And when you ask the supplier to make the sample, before they send from China far away to your country, and you have to pay the expensive delivery. Before that, make sure that they are sending you the right products and the products that you truly request. It's really important, because what happened to me is like it's many times. You really need to make it clear, like what you need, especially for the OEM and ODM products. It's many times, no matter it's the data for the thickness or for the size or for the color or the packaging, needs a lot of patience, and you need a lot of time, and to make sure that finally you receive the sample is what you were asking for. Another tip is for the sample is not only for the product itself, because for you to sell the products good, the packaging is very important. When you ask for the sample of the products, I would suggest you also to make sure that they can also provide, if we can, ask the suppliers to provide the packaging, because the packaging also very important together with the products. Mainly for the factory, I remember one time I have this kind of production for the ladies underwear, because the customer from the beginning, they were thinking about, okay, normally when you send out the goods from the factory, it will be individual packaging, but actually no, the goods the factory will send out is like this. And actually, the customer was thinking the goods need to send out like this, like a nice packaging with a plastic bag zip with the product together. But with the manufacturer, they don't understand that the customer need like a nice packaging, especially for Amazon sellers. You really need to be good looking for retail. So mainly for the mass production factory, it's like the plastic OPP bag. This is the very typical packaging, or they just bundle together everything together. Normally, they don't provide the individual packaging. So you always need to remember, if you need individual packaging, you always need to say this clear to the supplier, like, I need the individual packaging. And if you need the private label or not private label, then it's another thing. But this is very important, the product and the packaging together. And then with these all the problems, that's what also makes our position very important, because we are located in China and we understand what the customer requests. So when the factory send us this sample, we will be the first, like we can say, like the first QC or the first entry to check if this sample is what exactly the customer needs. For me, I'm not like confident. This is exactly what the customer wants. So normally, after we receive the sample, we will check was everything perfect in our mind. Like, okay, this is what according to the customer request with all the items, and then we will take pictures, take a video, and we send to the customer to let them check if everything fine. But for the first step, need to be us. If we find something not right, for example, like the packaging or like the protector with the thickness different, immediately before I send to the customer, I already will tell the factory to make a new sample and make it as what I know that the customer will to be agreed. And after we receive the sample, we filter out all the failed sample and we finally get the final sample. We will take the pictures, make a video, and then we send to our customers and to see if they have any ideas or if they want to change something else. And on this point, sometimes for the new sellers, for our experience, this is kind of like personal habits. Sometimes I will suggest, if I know that something is missing or something might be better to improve the product or improve the packaging or to improve the sale points, I will also suggest the customer, maybe it can be like that, and the customer can decide if they are taking the advice or not. But I think this is also our responsibility. If we know something, mosquito, as the knowledge we know that can help the customer, we will also suggest something we think is useful, we think that can help. Is the problem? I catch the mosquito. That's what we will do to maybe give some suggestion from the sample before the mass production starts. And another point or another tip for the sample is about money. Because normally when you make the sample, you need to pay the sample fee. After the sample fee is the shipping from China to to you to check if everything okay by your own. Normally, for this kind of customized sample, you need to pay the sample fee, and the sample fee on after the mass production, you can always be refunded. The customers, they will forget about to ask for the refund, and this is very important because for us, we have the system to remind every time. After we pay the sample, we will have the system to feel that okay, this sample fee is refundable. And after we start the mass production, we will note it the factory. Okay, we pay the sample fee, and this sample fee will be refundable. So we'll deduct it from the full payment. But if you didn't mention about that, 99.9% of the factory, they will never tell you like, hey, your sample fee can refund. So this is a very important point. Remember to refund your sample fee. So today the topic is short and small. It's about the sample. Just remember to make sure the sample is what you request, because it's quite difficult because it's quite normal for the Chinese manufacturer to misunderstanding, or they think in the easy way to make a sample because what they believe in the sample is difficult to connect with the thinking with the mass production will be based on the sample. So mainly they will just give you some products that's similar or ask you to check quality or to check the way they make it. So it's very important to make sure the sample is finally what you want to get, and make sure before they send to you, ask them to take pictures, send videos to check is what you request. If it's not, fast and ask them to adjust the sample. And the second is the sample is always with the product and the packaging together. It's always the best situation is to be together, because you will sell your product together with the packaging. You don't sell the product by just like this, just like a bottle. You will have a box, a packaging. So if you can, just make sure that you will know the final packaging will be. If it's possible, ask together with the packaging. And the third point is just to remember, if the sample fee is refundable, remember to refund your sample fee. And this is what today I share about the sample, about some communication or some small problems I met with the manufacturer. I hope you like it. I hope it can be helpful for you. And if you like my channel, please don't forget to subscribe. Let's see you next time. Bye bye.